Živijo, tukaj je Anže, poslušate podcast Aparatus, kjer legitimni člani družbe povejo, kaj počnejo v življenju. Aparatus ima od zdaj naprej tudi sponzorja, tako kot pri gostih sem upal, da bom za sponzorja dobil neko normalno oziroma legitimno firmo. To se je tudi zgodil, tako da sem zdaj ful vesel, da lahko rečem, da Aparatus podpira Third Frame Studios, podjetje, ki je sicer locirano v Kranju, sicer več ali manj poslujejo s tujimi partnerji, kaj točno delajo, lahko najdete na njihovi spletni strani www.3fs.si. So pa cool firma, ki je hotela pač podpreti Aparatus, jaz sem jim zato ful hvaležen, pa tudi jaz sem vesel, da sem dobil enega sponzorja, ki razume, kaj jaz tukaj počnem in je toliko družbeno odgovoren, da podpre eno tako zadevo, kot je Aparatus. Tole pa je 33. epizoda Aparatusa, kateri je z mano govoril Dryburgh, človek, ki dela en super podcast 100 Down, kjer še z dvema kolegoma hoče zgubiti 50 kil. Poleg tega je grafični oblikovalec v startupu v Kanadi, ki stiši na ime Perch. Zraven pa še dela video, te piše in slika. Gre že spet za enega v seriji angleških pogovorjev, ki jih imam zdaj čez poletje, drugače pa počas vračajo tudi slovenski gostje. Sicer je šlo pa za enega najbolj weird oziroma zabavnih pogovorov, ki sem ga imel sploh kar se tiče teh mojih angleških gostov. In kot vedno je dobrodošel kakršenkoli feedback, najdete me na Twitterju pod @anzet ali pa na mailu anze@aparatus.si. Če ste pa na Aparatus slučajno naročeni v iTunesih, bo pa kakršnakoli ocena tam dobrodošla. Evo, zdaj pa Pet. Hi.
How's it going?
Okay. Oh, this actually works now. Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, because I just spent an hour talking to a guy in New York.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I guess, I don't know, Skype got fed up with America and I had to restart. I don't know what that was. So.
What version of Skype are you running? The new one?
I'm on a Windows machine right now, okay. So yeah, I don't even keep track anymore. All I know is that every like other time I restart it, it updates itself. That's all I know.
Yeah, I'm still rocking on the Mac. I'm still rocking Skype 2.8.
Oh, the old UI one,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, and it sometimes doesn't play nice with old, newer versions, I guess. So, but we got it working. Okay. It's working. I have to apologize. I know you mentioned it on your show with Mike, but I need you to pronounce your first name for me because I'm terrible.
Okay, this is going to be like a running theme now. Yeah. I'm going to start recording my own. Just
go for it. Yeah.
That it's working. It's actually working. Great.
Boom.
Okay. So, yeah. Okay. And then you're going to pronounce your last name because
right,
I'm in a bind with that one. So,
that's
okay.
Fair.
Mine's Anže.
Anže.
Yeah. Well, that was close, but yeah,
you try one more time. Do one more time.
Okay. Anže.
Anže.
Oh, that was better. Yeah, the j sound usually is kind of hard for you guys. So
yeah, we don't do it very often here.
Yeah, it's pretty much non-existent.
The closest thing we have is this little juice company that you find in malls, and it's called Orange Julius.
Okay, that's
the closest we have.
Yeah, you the j kind of is more prevalent in English, I think, than the j. Yeah. Sound. So, okay, your last name now.
All right, it's I can't even pronounce it because I can't roll my R's. But it's Dryburgh. It's Dryburgh. With rolled R's. Yeah, it's like Edinburgh. It's Scottish.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought you were European at first.
Yeah, I have European blood for sure, and European very Scottish skin that reveals itself in the summertime.
Okay. So you're not like translucent, but close enough.
Pretty close. I guess. You don't have to do a lot of digging to find my veins. Basically, is what it boils down to.
Yeah, okay. So I think this already started now.
We're already in.
This is happening.
That's fine. We're good. I'm recording. You're recording. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to start with my first proper question.
Okay.
So who are you and what do you do?
Okay. Well, my name is Pat. And I am professionally a designer. I work at a company called Perch, where we do we're making a video communications app, and that's what I do in my 9 to 5. But I also do some design work on the side, some podcasting, some writing, some photography, some filmmaking, a bunch of other things.
And we're gonna
busy.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about all of that, but I want to start with the podcasting.
Okay.
Because actually, I first knew about you when you were writing for the Brooks Report.
Yes.
Yeah, you took
Brooks
over
Review.
for a week.
The Brooks
Review. I'm sorry. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Brooks Review.
Actually, it's I took over for a week. He took a vacation. I don't think he actually went anywhere, Ben. But he took a week off just because he needed some time off and asked if I would fill in. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, and actually he asked me if I would stay on and write basically once a week and just kind of contribute here and there. Yesterday, it was literally 2 days ago, I actually had to write an email to Ben saying that I unfortunately cannot continue writing weekly, but asked if I could just pop in here and there, on a Friday, a random Friday, because my time right now is I have so much going on with work, and I'm just so busy and focused on it that I haven't had a lot of time. I'm trying to really pare down some of my commitments. Obviously the podcast is one, and trying to lose all the weight is a big one. And so unfortunately the Brooks Review, as fun as it is and as awesome I think, Ben does a great job with the site, and I think my voice was cool in terms of it was just a different voice. I come at it perhaps a little less angry than Ben does.
Yeah, I was just about to say you're the calm one now.
Exactly. Which if you met me and not that I'm an angry guy, but calm is certainly not the characteristic most people attribute to me. So it was really good. I really had fun, and I'm still going to write for it. It's just, unfortunately, I just can't commit to doing a weekly thing. So I'm going to write in. I'm going to, every once in a while when I have something funny or stupid to say about tech or wallets or bags or whatever it is that is sort of on the Brooks Review mind at the time, I'll pop in from time to time. But yeah, that's when you first heard of me was.
Yeah, but yeah, through that, yeah. So, but yeah, if you're going to be gone more now, that's a shame because, Ben needs some, a counterweight there.
You know what? Here's what I like. Here's what I love about Ben is that he really has no problem letting you know what he thinks. And he's like that online. He's like that offline. I mean, dude is consistent. If nothing else, dude is consistent. And so I still love the site. I still love Ben, and I'm still going to have a part in it. I'm still going to do, so I help him out with just some of the back end, design and, whenever he does a little iteration, or makes a little tweak to something like the navigation or something like that, he'll send it to me and say, hey, what do you think? I'll help him out, generally try and fix all the CSS problems. And, so my hand will still be in I'm not pulling away fully. It's just, I can't commit to it on an ongoing, I can't fit into a weekly schedule for me at this point in my life. So.
Yeah. So, but you weren't required to wear suspenders.
It's funny because I actually asked him, so when I first posted the intro post the week that I did it, I really wanted to go out and buy some suspenders and get a photo taken with that looked just like his.
That would have been awesome.
I just could not. I couldn't find. I was still early on in my weight loss, so I couldn't find suspenders that were going to look, flattering.
Well, yeah, but your profile picture on Twitter is you in a party hat and an undershirt, I think.
I just changed that again too. I changed that back to I have a illustration that a friend of mine, Courtney, did. So it's a illustration of me again. But yeah, I did that photo, for a website that interviewed me, and the name of the site is sadly escaped my memory. But yeah, I did that photo. It was, I was just like, I need a photo of myself, and I'm not the kind of guy who looks good in portraits. I'm not the most handsome looking guy. And obviously I'm not the most fit looking guy. And so if I can just kind of play up the fact that I'm not that good looking by throwing on a party hat that I bought at the convenience store down the street and throw a little party blower thing in my mouth.
Yeah, but there's so much wrong with that picture.
It's funny that actually the tank. So the picture you're talking about is in black and white, and the tank top that I'm wearing is actually pink. It's a pink tank top, which you don't get. You don't get that sense in the black and white photo, obviously. But it's actually the same tank top. I don't know if you've gone through. I did some videos a while back called Preparing for John Syracuse's Reviews of
I saw some of those.
Yeah. So the one I did in San Francisco last year, that was the same pink tank top that I wore for in the middle of San Francisco, this park in San Francisco where there's literally hundreds, if not 1,000 people just kind of strewn across the park. It was a really busy place. And we shot, there was about 9 of us. Everyone else was there for WWDC, and they were wearing, what geeks wear, which is generally a lot of tech company t-shirts, well-fitting clothing. And then I showed up in board shorts and my pink tank top, and we rocked it. So yeah, it's the same tank top in that shot. I like it. I don't wear it very often. I only wear it when I'm going to be on the internet.
Yeah, because that makes sense. But I guess
absolutely.
But now that I know that it's pink, that picture is like
it really changes it, doesn't it? The reason I went black and white too is because I shot it in my apartment and I couldn't get the white balance I just couldn't get the white balance to look right. So I was like, the easiest way out of this is just to go black and white. And so I lost a little bit of I lost obviously some of the, the pink, I lost the pink tank top, but.
Yeah, I think you still made your point.
I think the point was made, yeah. I'm not sure what the point was exactly. But it was made. Whatever that point was, it was made.
Yeah. So we got from suspenders to a pink tank top.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
Exactly. There's the dichotomy there between Ben and I, right? Again. Pink,
the counterbalance thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all making sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good.
It feeds into so many areas of our lives. It really does.
I think his picture is also in black and white, or am I wrong?
No, his is in black and white as well.
Okay.
I think his is more of a stylistic choice than a technical one.
Or maybe he just couldn't find the white balance as well. So,
that's possible. I like to give people more credit than I give myself. So I'm going to assume that it was just as beautiful a photo in color as it was in black and white. But I like the black and white version. I think he looks sharp, man. Those suspenders. I've never actually seen him wear those suspenders in person. He's always wearing. He's dresses nice. I got to say, this whole episode has been about Ben and the way he looks.
That's true. Weird. I'm gonna have to work him into the title now.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, or at least the suspenders.
Yeah,
the suspenders and the tank top somehow.
Yeah,
but okay. So we have to talk about 100 Down.
Okay.
Because I listen to you guys, but I don't listen to every episode. I don't
listen to every episode. It's fine.
No, but the thing is, when I read your stuff on Ben's site, then I went into the pet rabbit hole and just saw everything you did. Basically,
it's scary, isn't it? That's the thing. I have on occasion found a site or found a writer or found a blog, found someone that I find interesting, and you do a little digging, and for the most part, you find pretty interesting things about people. Things that they've said on Twitter or on their blog, or videos they've posted, songs they've written, photos they've taken, all those sorts of things. The things that I've done have been pretty weird.
Well, no, some of them are in the realm of, I don't know how to say that, in the mainstream, I guess.
Yeah.
There's not, but then there's the pink tank top stuff,
yeah.
that kind of, there's these spikes there, which I actually like. So, that's part of the reason I wanted to talk to you.
I will say that the pink tank top, so when I did that last video, the video with for the John Syracuse thing back in San Francisco, I actually, when I posted the video, it got picked up by a few people, sharing it on their sites and whatnot, and that was really cool. But one of the main sources of traffic for the video was this, and I don't mean this in a negative way at all. It was awesome and hilarious. I actually wrote them. It was a gay porn site. It was a gay porn blog where they posted hardcore porn.
A proper an adult blog, not just
an adult blog. There's full on nudity. But they would occasionally just post things that were that they thought the community would like. And I guess, big dudes in pink tank tops is a thing that they like. And so they posted it, and I had a good chat with them afterwards. I sent them an email thanking them for the link. And so, that was really funny.
Yeah, you have no idea how this ties into my day, and let me explain that. I have to qualify that. But this is my third interview I'm recording today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the first one I did was with somebody from here, from Slovenia, who's basically like an LGBT activist.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, and he told me he's a bear in that whole subculture thing.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, if I were gay, I would be a bear. That's my classification, I guess.
Yeah, and I just talked to one this morning, so this is my day coming full circle, basically.
Full circle. That's too funny. Oh,
that's awesome. Yeah, okay. So this is my third attempt at trying to talk about the $100. Let's see how we can get derailed this time.
Rabbit hole, yeah. Okay, so 100 down.
Yeah. Okay, just explain the whole, like, the premise and how it all got started. Just,
all right.
Yeah.
Sure. So the idea came from, so I had been struggling with my weight for some time. About 3 or 4 years ago, I actually lost, I was about where I was when I started this, go round. I was about 265 pounds, 275 pounds, lost 60 pounds. But then I went through a pretty rough breakup and just a lot of different life things. And so I gained all that weight back and then some. So last year, late last year, I was, 280 something pounds, in the high 280s. And I realized I really needed to change something. And I had been kind of I had tried this paleo thing that my friend Ed, who's on the show, had talked about. He'd been doing it. He'd had success with it. But it just never really stuck with me. I would try it for like a few days and then I would, eat a pizza and then just get back get back into where I was. Then one day I was home for a friend's wedding back in November and was a groomsman, and I was at the door greeting people as they came in. And so lots of people were kind of smiling and, saying hello and that sort of whole thing that you do, with strangers that you're welcoming into a place that's not yours. But one guy came in and shook my hand, and the way he approached me was more of a friendship, a relation, like he knew who I was, or he seemed to. There was a familiarity, but I could not figure out who the heck this guy was. I ran it through my brain, thinking it must be a friend of the groom's that maybe I met once at some time at a party or something like that. But I just couldn't place how I knew this guy. So, the night goes on. That was like early in the afternoon. The day goes on. The night goes on. Finally, at like midnight, we're outside. We're all just kind of hanging out because the wedding was inside this little barn-like thing. And it was super hot. So we went outside and we were just chatting. And the groom turns to this guy that I had met and says, "Oh, hey, Bill." And then as soon as he said Bill, I realized instantly who it was. And it was this guy named Bill Dees, who I have known for probably close to 3 or 4 years now, but hadn't really talked to in about a year and a half. I moved out to Vancouver, so that was part of it. But we also just didn't run in all the same circles. But we kind of had an acquaintance relationship over Twitter and online and whatnot. But I just couldn't believe that this was the same guy. He had lost 130 pounds in a span of a year. And then had really trimmed down. So he was 320 probably, when I first met him. And I think I knew he had been losing weight. I think I saw him when he was 280, 290. He had lost, 20 or 30 pounds, which at that weight is very noticeable. Mm-hmm. But when I saw this guy in front of me, I literally had no idea who he was. He looked different. He had a goatee, so that kind of threw me off a little bit. But I was just so impressed and so shocked. I was like, if this guy can do it, maybe I can, and have such a huge change in appearance, a positive one. He looks really good. Maybe I can do the same thing. And so I was approaching the new year was coming, and I knew I wanted to kind of kick off the new year by doing this, trying paleo again. But I knew I couldn't do it alone this time. I really needed some help. I needed some sort of system. There was a lot of talk back around that time, as there generally always is around, December and into the new year. The idea of, why resolutions fail, and it's generally because of poor planning. And so I was just like, I need something. I need some system, something that's going to keep me on track. And we just decided, why not do something like a podcast, or why not do a call? I think it started as a call just between the three of us, Bill, Ed, and myself. And actually I heard another podcast by a relatively famous, at least in the Americas, named Kevin Smith, who's doing a lot of podcasts these days, with his friends.
Oh, no, the Clerks.
He did Clerks. So him and his friend Jay, who was, Jay and Silent Bob, they do a podcast about Jay, being sober. He had a really tough time with, heroin and crack addiction. And so they've been doing this podcast. They've done something like 110 or 112 episodes. And every week Jay goes out and they tell funny stories. They're certainly funnier than we are. They're certainly much more popular than we are. But, the basic hook of the show is, Jay, how long have you been sober? And every week he comes and he says, X number of days. He just hit 1,000 a little while ago. He's over 1,000 days. So he's been, clean for a few years. But I just liked that idea of having a place that is, kind of out there that I can be honest and say where I'm at. Every week I do a check-in. Every week I say what I weighed the week before, what I weighed this week. Sometimes it's good news. Sometimes it's bad news. And, and basically then the rest of the episode is me dealing with what that change means and how I can make it, generally how I can make it go in the right direction. So, and we just like the idea too. We've been hearing a lot, of people who, I don't expect the show. It's not a show for everyone. It's not an entertaining show particularly. But if it's something that you're struggling with, I think it's cool to have, sort of someone else putting themselves out there and you can kind of glean onto them and follow along on their journey as you're going on your own. And so if we can be that to some people, even just one person who, a year from now or 2 years from now finds this show and just starts listening and they get encouragement or knowledge or just kind of a sense of, okay, I'm not in this alone, then it was worth it, and it's working. I don't want to give too much away, but we just recorded last night, episode 20, and I just hit the 50-pound mark.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, I listened to number 19 3 days ago. Yeah.
Where I was hovering over that 50-pound mark for quite a while, going back and forth, kind of like it was like going into a cold pool, where you need to do it because it's so hot, but you kind of like stick your foot in and then you take it out, and then you stick your leg in and you take it out. And that's kind of how it was. I was kind of like just slowly broaching that 50-pound mark. Like I'm not quite ready, but finally, I'm actually there and a little bit ahead. So
that's awesome. Yeah, because I don't really have a weight problem because I still play basketball. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm not supposed to be telling this, but I pretty much eat whatever I want because I
See, you're like my brother. You're like my brother. My brother when my brother and I grew up together, okay, we were only 2 years apart, but we could not be more opposite. He will eat, 2 burgers, like 2 Big Macs, let's say, a big, bottle of Coke. He'll down, basically a buffet. He'll shut a buffet down and lose weight in the process. I look at a salad on a table and I gain 5 pounds. And so guys like you bug the crap out of me because you have it so damn good and you don't even know how good you have. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can say damn.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. So, but you guys have it so good, and I don't think you guys understand how good you guys have it.
Yeah, but the thing is, you see, I'm not like that because I keep the weight off basically just by doing sports.
Just by keeping busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the problem is that in this culture, at least in American culture, and even I'm in Canada.
Canada.
I can't even pronounce my own country's name. Now that's embarrassing. I'm glad this is like my first international podcast appearance, and I'm messing up my own country's name. Way to go! Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, it's not very common in this culture to be busy. Like, sitting on a couch and watching TV is like America's favorite pastime. And I include myself in that. I mean, the amount of TV I have and do watch is ridiculous. And so that's why this whole podcast and the weight loss thing hasn't just been changing the meals and changing, just the diet. It's really been changing a whole lifestyle. And it's hard, man. It's hard because so many of my habits, just like anyone else's, so many of my habits are so ingrained, and are really just like second nature. There's sort of this intuition that when I, come home from work, I slop my bag down and I watch TV. And it seems ridiculous to say like that's a habit or that's my natural instinct. But because of, basically laziness, that's what it's become. And so I've had to fight. I've had to really fight. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. But I've really had to fight to kind of get out of this really detrimental routine that I've kind of or cycle that I've put myself in. And again, it's kind of like, I spiral away a little bit, and then every once in a while I get pulled back in, and then I just got to kind of fight a little bit harder to kind of loosen the grip that it has on me again. So it's been a fight, man. It's been a fight.
Yeah, it's always a fight, but that's kind of why I like the podcast, because I can sort of relate, because I used to not play that much basketball until I was like 22. I'm 29 now.
Yep.
But then at 22, I started to really play it, and then I still played third division over here. So, it's proper, but that kind of keeps me there. That broke the habit, because there's a coach there who yells at you if you're late and stuff.
Yeah.
And I actually need to be there, and it's like 3 or 4 practices a week and a game. Yeah. And that kind of broke my routine. So I kind of get the how the routine can become, overpowering, basically. So I used to play sports all the time when I was a kid. Growing up, I played hockey from when I was 4 till I was, I think, 17. But you're required to do that.
I played baseball every summer. I was a very active kid. I always kind of had this like, Fat Pat. Like that was a nickname. I wouldn't say looking back, I don't think I was fat. I was certainly not skinny, and I was certainly not, necessarily in the best shape, but I wasn't fat. I mean, I had a little bit of pudge on me. But I was active, man. I played all these sports, through high school. I played basketball. I played volleyball. But then once college hit, all of it went away. I played a little volleyball for a little bit, and then music and life kind of took over. And so all those things that had probably really been keeping most of the weight, at bay. Cause I certainly wasn't eating well. I certainly wasn't, on this fancy diet back then that was keeping me slim. It was certainly only the activity I was doing. And then when I cut the activity out and kept going on the same trajectory food wise, then it just starts piling on. And so now I'm trying to break that cycle. I'm trying to get to where you are, man. I'm trying to get to where you are, where I'm playing sports and I'm a sports guy. It's weird.
That sounds weird now.
I know
when I think about it, but yeah.
Especially if you imagine me playing, like, let's say basketball in my pink tank top. Probably not the image most of your listeners want in their heads.
And you do know I'm going to go to sleep after this, so it's gonna...
Right. It's pretty late over there, so this is teeing up your dream cycle for the night.
Yeah, my subconscious is going crazy. Yeah. So the next thing I wanted to ask you about is the design work you do, because I really like your site, basically.
Oh,
I
thank
subscribed
you.
And everything. But yeah, you have that whole minimalism. And I talked to Chris Gonzalez like 2 weeks ago, who does on retrofied.com and also writes for Tools and Toys. And he kind of has the same sensibility. So that kind of clicked with me. And I just wanted to ask you, like, where your design kind of language comes from, the stuff you like.
Yeah, it's interesting because it comes out of a place of, how do I put this? It comes out of envy, I think, actually, which sounds weird, but let me explain. I'm not the most organized in my day-to-day life. If you look at my apartment, let's say, not a whole lot of organization, not a whole lot of style. But I just feel like when I'm working on a product, let's say, or on a website, I have something about the digital realm I just get. And so, when I'm creating a design, what I'm really doing is it's my opportunity to create what I want. You know, it's kind of my opportunity to create. If my life was only this design, what would that look like? And maybe that's kind of a weird way to approach it. And I'm not saying that's the only thing I do. Obviously, I do, market research or, researching who the users will be, understanding the product, all those things, obviously. But when I'm in my design mode and I'm either just brainstorming ideas, it's a really freeing process to be like, okay, blank slate, what would I want this to look like? Because I can't figure it out I have the ugliest furniture. I have the worst sense of style. My tea towels don't match. It's not a good situation here at home. And so I need to recreate. I need to create the life I want to live online. That's basically how it works. And so I did a lot of research for the blog, for instance. I did a lot of research into other sites that I admired, what I wanted my site to say and kind of be. And that's what I made. And it's still it's actually not quite there. It's a bit of a work in process. And unfortunately, I just kind of have to put in time as I find it. But, that's kind of where that comes from, is just the sense of, okay, this is a place where I have absolute control and what do I want to do with that?
Well, that's a pretty great answer, actually. So I'm just gonna let that settle in, and then I'm gonna move on. Okay, and then the next thing I want to ask you about the videos. The one I actually, when we first interacted on Twitter, the one I posted. But how did those come about? And not just the Syracuse, let's leave the pink tank top.
Let's leave that one aside. You want me to bring up, because there is a video, I don't know if you've seen it, there is a video, actually 2 videos online of me jumping into and swimming in a pool in a Speedo. I can send you those links if you want those. I can get them to you before you go to bed, just as a...
Thanks. Do that.
Okay.
Do that. I'm going to put them in the show notes then. So.
We really need not safe for work or not safe for life on some of these links.
Yeah, but I don't think a tag exists in to encompass all of this. So,
no, I know. No, the videos. So I started doing the first video stuff I did. How far back do you want to go? The very first video I ever made was I was 8 years old, and I had my dad had bought this VHS video camera.
You still had the VHS tapes.
Oh, this is VHS. Yeah, this is probably, this
awesome.
is 93, I guess. And he had this old, or I shouldn't say old, it was new at the time, VHS video tape recorder. Actually, I think it was my grandmother's, now that I think about it. I think she owned it and we just kept it, cause she lived at home and she didn't really have much to shoot. So, but I picked up this camera and I walked around. I still have the video VHS at my parents' house. It's just me walking around my house kind of looking at things. And then I sit down and watch this dinosaurs TV show for about half an hour with just the camera pointed at the TV. So that was my real first breakthrough into the world of filmmaking. As you can see, lots of potential there for really exciting things. So then, I don't know. I wouldn't say I really was into video, or film. I watched movies. I was really, I really like movies and enjoy watching them. But I didn't really get into making things until I was doing music. I was in a band called Boss Rebel. We were kind of a ska, rock, reggae infused, party band. And we did a couple music videos for a couple songs that we did on an album that I was part of with the band. And, that was actually, my friend Ed who shot those videos with us, for us. And so we did those, we put them online, people seemed to like them. And then I just started I just got the fire. I just was like, this is fun. We have an opportunity with technology these days, the technology that we have these days and the audience who's there and are really, I think people are really in a way that I don't think was even 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, really open to the idea of content that's created by people like us. You know, there's sort of, if you look back in like the 50s or 60s, or even before then, the culture between people who created media and the people who consumed media was so removed from one another. There was such a chasm between the two. And obviously, seems so obvious to say, but I think there's something really profound about it. The fact that now today, those of us who were consumers can now also be content creators. And I mean that in the most positive, like exciting way possible. Like we can create things that other people have the opportunity to enjoy. That really fired me up. And that's why I did blogging. That's why I did music. And so that's kind of why I'm doing film now or video. And, you know, just doing little short things like that are stupid of me doing a somersault across the grass. I mean, it's so stupid and if I were to take that to a studio, they would laugh in my face. I mean, I wouldn't even get through the front door. Let's be honest. In my pink tank top, they're not letting me in any building where, you know, Jerry Bruckheimer is. But the idea that I can do that now and literally just post it online and get a couple hundred people maybe who say, haha, that's funny, brighten up a couple people's days. That's amazing. I think that's a fantastic, new reality that we're living in. And so that's why I get fired up about things like, you know, online video or doing short films as independent people, independent media in general. This is our time. And I'm just trying to I'm just trying to do as good of a job with the opportunity that's been presented to us as I can.
Yeah. Because I feel kind of the same way. Because I call it giddy over the internet, basically. That's kind of how I describe that. Because, you know, I'm just some guy in Slovenia and you're over there and we're talking and this is going to go out.
Right. But we're all just some guys. That's the thing that I'm really... I've been listening to this podcast called WTF with Mark Maron. He's a comedian.
I know WTF. Yeah.
And he interviews all these comedians and you know, a lot of them are people I haven't heard of. I still really enjoy those ones, but sometimes there's people who are like big names. And just hearing those people talk like people, you know, you just don't get that in today's media. You just don't get people being people. And you kind of forget, like, you know, this person who wrote, the latest Iron Man movie is just a dude who's got, you know, probably has a wife and probably has kids and a house. And yeah, maybe it's a little bigger and maybe it's a little fancier, but they're just people with the same problems and the same crap that they have to deal with. But they, you know, through passion, through work, through drive, have created this, you know, hopefully amazing thing. And what's incredible is that now all of us can do that. All of us can just be some guy who makes something. And that's really exciting. And I think that even stretches to people like, you know, this is going to sound really weird. I don't want to make this a political issue, but you know, if you're a gun enthusiast and you want to make videos about guns, you know, you can do that. And if you're a brony and you want to make, you know, a blog about how cool My Little Pony is, you can do that and find an audience, and you just could not do that before. And so, you know, doing a podcast where you're talking to someone from, you know, some, you know, idiot in Canada, you know, from your, you know, glorious estate in Slovenia, you know, you can do that now.
Basically, I'm just going to call my butler over for a second.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's kind of, and the whole people talking like people thing, that's sort of the premise of like everything I do.
Right.
Because I just got tired of the whole overproduced like PR, you know, speak that you get from most traditional media. At least that's how it is over here. So
it's interesting because I think we're finally using technology in a more humane way. And by that, I mean, you know, back, you know, 300 years ago, what did people do? They told stories. They told stories to one another in person. But now the only difference is that now we don't have the geographical limitations. And so if you can get a couple people into a room or on Skype, you know, thousands of miles apart and just get them talking, I think, you know, there's something really magical that happens there. That it really speaks to who we are as people, and our need to tell and hear stories from those of us who were doing, basically doing life with, right? We're all, man, this is getting really, really weird, but we're kind of all on this planet at the same time. And, this is the first time really in human history where I can know in a pretty detailed and intimate way what someone who lives on the other side of the world is going through in their life, and that's really remarkable.
Yeah, you see that's the whole giddy over the internet thing. That's the best way. I talked to Chris Enns last week, the guy that does SSKTN, the podcast network.
Okay,
he's also in Canada, so yeah, we talked about along the same lines. But yeah,
that's because Canadians like talking. If there's one thing Canadians know how to do, it's talk.
Okay, and speaking of Canada, I'm trying to do, because this interview is going to go into my Slovene feed eventually, right?
Right.
I have an English side and then a Slovene side.
Do you have a translator? Like, is there going to be a translator over top of me? Like a really, preferably like someone in their mid to late 30s.
I'm going to use a woman.
If you could get a female, I was going to say, if you could get a woman to do it, with a really like high raspy voice, kind of like that, like.
Oh, you want the raspy voice?
I want a raspy voice. Yeah,
I can get you like a raspy voice and a lisp.
My voice is I just think my voice is so damn irritating. That's actually, truth be told, I do listen to I do listen to each podcast that we do, because I just like to make sure, okay, I didn't swear, or this actually makes sense, or whatever, just to make sure it's there and it's complete and it's right. But man, I cannot listen. I can't stand the sound of my voice at all. So if you could put a good translator, or just run me through some sort of speech recognition software that will output a robotic voice.
Transcribe everything, put it into Google Translate, and let it do its thing.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think is there anyone where you live in Slovenia who is just so, who talks like this? Is there anyone who's so animated? Because you're pretty calm. You've got an even keel to your, and I feel like that the accent and the language doesn't lend itself to just outbursts of random stupidity like I have, like I do.
No, it's probably just because this is, like I said, my third interview, and I'm kind of in the groove now.
Oh, so you're in. So what it really is, you're tired. You're ready to quit for the night. You're ready to go to bed. You're just like, you've got your PJs on, you've got your slippers on, your butler's handing you, your late night milk, and in a crystal glass, and this is the end. You're just waiting for this to finish so that you can go off to sleep in your. Because
this is basically like Downton Abbey, but everybody's talking Slovene. This is that's my life. Basically.
Is that true? Is it like Downton? I haven't seen the show. My mom loves the show. I don't know how she's going to feel. Is it true that P. Diddy's going on that show? Is that true? Is that a real thing?
I just saw that. That has to be a joke.
I'm going to have to ask my mom. I wouldn't say she's the biggest. She's the biggest, probably one of those Downton Abbey fanatics. Don't know that she's big on P. Diddy. I don't know that she's up on her late 90s
the
hip-hop.
thing I read is that he really likes the show. And
oh, really?
Yeah.
So he's a fan. He was like, you know what? I could basically buy this show. So just let me on. This is, if you don't want me to take things over, just let me on, and
Yeah, his guest appearance is going to be the Downton Abbey White Party, or whatever the hell he has,
Really?
He has those, he has, no, that's a joke. I don't have any information, but I just know PD does those white parties where everybody's dressed in white. So maybe that's going to happen. But yeah, that's...
He was actually really good in that Take Him to the Greek movie. I don't know if you saw that with Jonah Hill and Russell Brand. Yeah. I thought he was hilarious. And
I think he has that something, I think.
he's really... I think he's talented. But this is an interesting... I don't know. Neither of us watched the show. Why are we talking about Downton?
Yeah, I
you
don't
live
know.
there.
I don't know.
You live there. That's why.
I live
so you're
there,
excited for P. Diddy to come and hang out with you.
Yeah, basically.
In your castle.
Yeah, and I'm gonna dub him with a raspy Slovene woman as well. So,
ooh.
Yeah.
You do that for all your guests, or just the rich rapper ones?
The ones I like.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put it to you like that. So
I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that.
Yeah, you're getting. Yeah, I like you. So yeah, you're getting.
All right. Me and Diddy.
Okay, so where was I? Okay, yeah, the whole.
Oh, who knows, dude? Who knows? At this point.
At this point, it's going to be pink suspenders at some point. But yeah, okay, no. I'm gonna okay. The whole I'm trying to, because it's gonna go into my Slovene feed as well. I'm trying to ask people, because like you said, we're all just some guy somewhere. But like all of the podcasts I listen to, nobody ever talks about where they're from and what their like surroundings are like.
Right.
So you're in Vancouver now.
So I live in Vancouver. What do you want to know? How detailed?
I always have trouble phrasing this because, I don't want you to go, I have like 3 malls, like 3 kilometers from my house. I don't want to, but just like what life's like there and stuff like that.
So it's actually, it's an interesting topic because my life now living in Vancouver, I lived here just over a year. It's wildly different from growing up in a small town of 3,000 people where, you have a house, you live in a 1 or 2 story house, and there's yard, and, there's green grass around you, surrounding you. There's, literally meters of space between you and the next family. Here, there's none of that. I mean, there's no grass. There's no, my neighbor is just on the other side of this plywood, or this, drywall. So one of the things I've really found is the fact that I'm never not alone. I open my window, or even now my windows are closed because we're recording, but even now I can still kind of hear the life going on outside. I live in the downtown, basically the downtown of a not the biggest city in Canada, but not the smallest for sure. And it's one of the there's lots of stuff happening all the time here, and there's lots of people moving around, and so there's I live in a small community. It's called Gastown. It's kind of like a small section of the city. It's the oldest section of the city. There's lots of restaurants around. There's lots of bars and pubs and that sort of thing. Lots of really great food. There is actually a grocery store right across the street from me, which is really handy. A butcher shop just downstairs. It's closed for renovations right now, but it's right down. It's really, really handy. There is the diviest bar in all of human history, literally across the street. Yeah, it's called, I can never remember the name. It's like the Royal something, or I can't remember.
Well, yeah,
it's Vancouver's, the tagline is Vancouver's favorite country bar. And the characters that come out, I didn't have a TV for, I think 9 months, or 7 months from when I moved here till I got the TV. Because I just didn't need it, man. I just sit at my window, and the people and the interactions that happen outside of that bar are way better, way more entertaining than anything else. I mean, there's fights that break out in the middle of the day, and it's sad. It's kind of sad in a way. I feel bad, but it's really interesting to me. Like, this whole world that I had no idea existed, because I lived in a suburb of a small city where there was fields where I would dirt bike, or, a forest where I would build tree forts. And, the idea of there being, we didn't even have a bar in our town, let alone, Vancouver's favorite country bar. And so, so like this whole culture is a very different, I shy away from calling it culture shock, but it is very different. And that's kind of my area, my life. I work really close to home. My office is actually just down the street. For now, we're looking for new offices, but, I just live in a kind of a busy area, lots of people, lots of cool things, lots of excitement happening in this area right now. So that's what Gastown, Vancouver is kind of like. Yeah, lots of excitement and a country bar.
Yeah, I'd love to see that place, but
it's pretty remarkable. You know what? Maybe I'll take a picture of the bar, because that alone.
I'll put it in the show notes.
All right.
So yeah, that'd be great.
It's pretty remarkable.
Okay, so now we're gonna move to like the last section.
All right.
Of this interview. I usually ask my guys like which hardware and software they use, because there's 2 parts to that. I'm just selfish and I want to find out about like apps that are actually cool.
Yeah.
But the way I phrase it is the stuff that you actually use, not the stuff that you think is kind of,
right,
cool and flavor of the month stuff. So,
sure. Well, that makes the list pretty boring, but I will do my best. So I use a MacBook Air. I got it last year. I spec'd it out to the highest end. I think it's got like 8 gigs of RAM, 500 gigabytes of SSD space. That's about all I know about it. 13-inch, beautiful. I came from a MacBook Pro, and so it's actually the same resolution with a higher pixel density, so it's really nice.
Oh, okay.
Geez, for work, I have an iPhone and an iPad that I test. We're making an iPhone app, so that's what I used to test, and also tweet and make poop jokes, that sort of thing. But it's kind of weird that we spend so much money on devices to make poop jokes, but that's another topic.
True.
So I use Photoshop a lot. I do a lot of my design. So maybe I'll start from at least design work. I'll start from the beginning. So I do a lot of, note taking either on paper or in a notes app. Just getting like the ideas out, just getting like the general sense of what it is we're trying to create. Then I move on to wireframing, which I generally do. I've been doing in Keynote, actually, Apple's Keynote presentation software.
I've heard of that being used for wireframing. Actually,
it's really good. But we just started literally this weekend. We moved our Keynote presentation over to Google's presentation software online, like their Google Apps. They have like a Word.
I know.
Word
it's
duplicate.
Google Drive now. Yeah, it's changed. Yeah. The name changes every 2 years.
So they have a presentation version or app, and it's fantastic. It's almost as good as Keynote in terms of its just in terms of its drawing capabilities and what you can actually create in it. But what we found is that we would send these keynotes back and forth, and we would talk about the changes that we were making or talk about decisions we were making in person. We would sit over the keynote, 2 people at a chair or 2 people at a screen, and we would talk about things, make decisions, which is great. Only there's no record of those decisions or records of those discussions being, that we're having. And so when we're working on a product that's so in terms of just the number of things that we need it to do, it's actually kind of complex. What Google Presentation allows us to do is we can just have all of our comments and all of our dialogue in the presentation software, so that you can add comments to different elements, or you can just type notes for a slide, or there's a chat thing. And so when I pass this wireframe off to developers, they see not only the finished product, but they actually see a lot, if not all, a lot of the thinking that goes behind it. So we just started using that. That's been really great. I use Photoshop for making mock-ups. I use Xcode to kind of fumble my way through occasionally trying to get things into a, ready state. And then the developers rip out everything I do and redo it. Email. I mean, we use a lot of communication, stuff to kind of keep ourselves in the loop. I use text. I use like TextMate, and I text editors because I do web development as well. So I'm always going back between text editors. I guess I use TextMate and Sublime kind of interchangeably. One, I get frustrated with one and then go back to the other until I get frustrated with it and go back to the other. Skype. We're using Skype. I don't know.
Yeah,
I use the Adobe. I mean, as frustrating as Adobe has been as a company and as just their products in general have been for the last few years, the last year and a half, couple years they've done some remarkable things. I use Lightroom for photography. I use Premiere for video editing. I use After Effects when I try to, hack away a stupid animation that, someone else could do in 5 seconds. That takes me an hour and a half. So I'm really actually pretty invested in the Adobe world right now, which is interesting given how, first off, how much I pirated. The number of times I pirated Photoshop in my life, I deserve multiple life sentences, I'm sure, at this point. But yeah, I'm happy to pay them. They are doing good work, so I'm happy to pay them, and I use the heck out of their stuff now.
Yeah, well, the whole cloud suite is going to be right up your alley then.
You know what? I don't know if you saw there's a blog post from last year where I actually had a real tough time getting that stupid subscription to work the first time.
Yeah.
But now that it's working, it's pretty remarkable. It's pretty cool.
And then your phone and your iPad, but again, the stuff that you actually use.
So I use an iPhone 4S because I am not in dire need of an iPhone 5 as much as I really, 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 really want one. I know that there's something new coming around the corner, so I just realized I don't need an iPhone 5. It's a nice to have. So, but I think with iOS 7 coming out, I'm probably going to get whatever comes next, in the fall or whatever. So I have a white iPhone 4 right now running iOS 6. And then I have an iPad mini, that's running iOS 6. It's black and it has a red cover. Red smart cover.
It should have been a pink cover, but yeah.
I know. I didn't want to. The thing is when it's different when it's the tank top, because the tank top is so big that no one else would think to steal it. But I think if I had a pink iPad thing, some 16-year-old girl's going to think it's theirs and take it off the coffee table when they.
Yeah, and then
take it off. Not that they're in my plate. Oh, that's weird.
That just
take it off the coffee shop table that I'm in public because they see it and I've left it with a coffee. This is really, I'm making
just quit. What I was going to say.
Quit while I'm ahead.
But
right.
You're not really ahead.
I should have really stopped this then at probably 8 minutes in. Would probably been a good time to shut things down, but that was fun. Is that it? Do you want to know more? I got.
No, okay, I'm just going to ask you. I have this one question that I always ask at the end.
All right.
And if you have a piece of hardware or something physical, it doesn't have to be a gadget, but I've gotten weird responses before, so don't be confined to gadgets. But one physical thing that kind of made a mark on your life, or you thought it was made for you.
Right. Do you think? Yeah, I remember you teed up that question, and I'm trying to think. You know what? I'm going to have to say it's the iPhone. I wrote a post just a couple weeks ago. I don't remember if I wrote it I think I wrote it on Brooks Review, just about how intimately connected I feel to my iPhone. I wrote it in relation to, the speculation at the time that, iOS 7 was going to be a big departure from
I read that,
the model.
Yeah, okay.
And that actually comes from a place of, I use my iPhone every day for so many different things, and it truly has of the things that I look at around my apartment, the things that I own, I would definitely say the iPhone has had the most remarkable effect on my life, I guess. Computers in general, yeah, but just the iPhone has had a pretty remarkable effect on my life, and so I would say that because of that, I think it's probably safe to say that it's the product that was it was made for me.
See that's
Steve and Johnny were thinking, I bet that fat Canadian guy, he's gonna like this. He's going to like what we've done here.
Yeah. They did it with you in mind, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's a pink prototype somewhere. It was called the Pet, and you just never market research.
Shockingly, it never made it out of the lab.
Yeah. But there's, it's going to show up on eBay. And
you know what, man? I think a pick. Jokes aside, I think there is a huge market for pink iPhones.
Oh, definitely.
I think you're underselling the fact that I am not the only one.
That's definitely the case. Yes. Because then the 16-year-olds at the coffee shop.
The 16-year-olds and the bronies, man. That's who else wants pink anything?
Yeah, the brownie thing. We're not going to go down that alley.
All right.
Because that's just a whole bag of I don't know what. But Pat, that's pretty much it, basically.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. Seriously.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun. Hi, listeners. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. I just have to figure out how to put the pink tank top and Ben Brooks into the title now. That's my mission, basically.
Sounds
I'm
good.
going to be dreaming about that. So, yeah, thanks
I'm
again.
sorry. I'm so sorry. All right.
Tole je bila 33. epizoda Aparatusa. Peta najdete na Twitterju pod afna.drybουρgh. Link je tudi na aparatus.si. Mene najdete na Twitterju pod afna.anzet. Če ste slučajno na Aparatus naročeni v iTunesih, bo kakršnakoli cena tam bo došla. Drugače pa to do naslednjega tedna to. Čau.